Welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today we're taking a look at PaliGemma 2, a family of versatile VLMs for transfer. Honestly, the title alone sounds like science fiction.
It might sound like science fiction, but it's quickly becoming reality. PaliGemma 2 is a huge leap forward in the world of AI, specifically how machines see and understand the world around them.
So not just recognizing a cat in a picture, like some of those early AI programs.
Exactly. We're talking about AI that can analyze complex scenes, understand scientific diagrams, even generate detailed descriptions of what it sees.
Okay, color me intrigued. Where do we even begin with something this complex?
The best place to start is with the foundation. PaliGemma 2 is a type of AI called a vision language model, or VLM. Think of it as like a combination of a superpowered language model and a highly advanced visual system.
So it's like it has both a brain and a set of eyes.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
The language model, in this case Gemma 2, is like the brain, responsible for understanding and processing information. And the eyes are a special component called the SIGLIP SO400-meter vision encoder.
Okay, I'm going to need you to break that down for me. What exactly does a vision encoder do?
Imagine you're trying to describe a picture to someone who's never seen it before. You have to translate those visual elements into words, right? That's essentially what the vision encoder does. It takes the raw visual data from an image and converts it into a format that the language model can understand.
So it's like they're speaking different languages, but this encoder acts as a translator.
Exactly. It bridges the gap between the world of images and the world of language.
But why is this such a big deal? I mean, haven't there been other VLMs before? What makes PaliGemma 2 stand out?
Well, one of the key things that makes PaliGemma 2 so special is its versatility. It's designed for something called transfer learning. Think about it like once you learn to ride a bike, it's much easier to learn to ride a motorcycle. The basic skills transfer over.
Okay, so PaliGemma 2 is like the ultimate multitasker of the AI world.
Precisely. It's been trained on a massive amount of data, which allows it to quickly adapt and learn new tasks without needing to be completely retrained from scratch.
Give me some proof. What can it actually do better than other AI?
The research is pretty astounding. PaliGemma 2 has been tested on over 30 different tasks, and it consistently outperforms previous VLMs. We're talking image captioning, visual question answering, even understanding the content of videos.
That's a pretty impressive resume. The paper mentioned something about different sizes of PaliGemma 2. What's that all about?
Yeah, you're right. PaliGemma 2 actually comes in a family of sizes. It's like having different versions of the same tool, each optimized for specific tasks.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Exactly. And the size of the model, measured in something called parameters, directly affects its capabilities. Think of parameters like the settings on a complex camera. The more settings you have, the more control you have over the final picture.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture, literally. But why even bother with smaller models if bigger ones are more powerful?
That's a great question. Sometimes you don't need the full firepower of the largest model. Smaller models can be more efficient, requiring less computational power, which is crucial for running them on everyday devices like phones or laptops.
So it's all about finding the right tool for the job?
Exactly. It's about balancing performance with efficiency. And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of PaliGemma 2, the impact of resolution.
Resolution? Like the number of pixels in an image. What does that have to do with AI?
Well, it turns out that resolution plays a crucial role in how well PaliGemma 2 performs on certain tasks. For things like reading text in an image, higher resolution is key. Think about it, you need to see those letters clearly.
That makes sense. But for other tasks, maybe a lower resolution is enough.
Precisely. For tasks that rely more on reasoning and understanding context, a lower resolution might be perfectly fine.
Okay, my head is spinning a little with all this talk of models, parameters, and resolutions, but I'm definitely hooked. Can we get into some real-world examples of what PaliGemma 2 can do?
Absolutely. That's where things get really exciting. Let's start with something we're all familiar with, OCR, or optical character recognition. Remember those clunky old programs that struggle to read text from images?
Ugh, yes. They made so many mistakes.
Well, PaliGemma 2 blows them out of the water. It achieves state-of-the-art results in text detection and recognition, even surpassing models specifically designed for OCR.
So it's like a superpowered OCR on steroids.
Exactly, and it doesn't stop there. Remember the pain of manually extracting data from tables?
Don't remind me, spreadsheets are my nemesis.
Well, PaliGemma 2 can be your new best friend. It excels at table structure recognition, extracting text, identifying the boundaries of each cell, and even understanding the underlying structure of the table, like rows and columns.
So it's not just reading. It's comprehending. That's next level stuff.
It is, and it speaks to the potential for automating data entry and analysis on a massive scale. Think about research, finance, even historical document preservation, all fields that deal with a lot of tables and data.
Okay, this is all starting to feel very real world. What about those scientific applications? You mentioned molecule recognition. How does that work?
This one's particularly fascinating. PaliGemma 2 was trained on a data set of molecular drawings, similar to what chemists use to represent molecules. And get this, it can accurately recognize those drawings and even translate them into something called smile strings.
Smile strings, those sound cheerful.
Well, they're actually a way to represent the structure of a molecule in a text format. It's like a code that describes how the atoms are connected.
So PaliGemma 2 is essentially reading and understanding chemical diagrams.
Exactly. And the implications are huge. It could speed up drug discovery, help design new materials, even aid in understanding complex biological processes.
Okay, my brain is working overtime trying to keep up with all these possibilities. What about something a little more lighthearted? You mentioned music earlier.
Ah, yes, the musical maestro. PaliGemma 2 can actually translate images of sheet music into digital representations with impressive accuracy.
So like converting those squiggly lines and dots into something you could play on a digital keyboard.
Precisely. And it did remarkably well, even surpassing some of the specialized models in this field.
So we've got AI that can comprehend, analyze, and now play music. What can't this thing do?
Well, there are still challenges, of course, but what's really exciting is that these are just a handful of the tasks PaliGemma 2 has been tested on, and we're just getting started with this deep dive.
My curiosity is officially piqued. Bring on the rest of these amazing capabilities.
Let's dive into some more of those impressive feats and maybe even uncover some areas where there's still room for improvement. That's for part 2 of our deep dive. Welcome back to our deep dive into PaliGemma 2.
Last time, we left off with a cliffhanger. You mentioned that PaliGemma 2 can do way more than just read text and tables. My brain is ready for more.
Well, get ready, because we're about to explore some truly fascinating applications. We'll start with one that has huge implications for scientific research, recognizing molecular structures from drawings.
Wait, are you saying this AI can actually understand those complex chemical diagrams that chemists use? That sounds almost too good to be true.
It might sound unbelievable, but that's exactly what the research shows. PaliGemma 2 was trained on a dataset of these molecular drawings, and it learned to identify them with remarkable accuracy. In fact, it can even translate those drawings into a text-based format that scientists use to represent molecules.
So instead of the chemist having to painstakingly decipher these drawings, PaliGemma 2 could do it in a fraction of the time.
Precisely. It could significantly speed up the process of drug discovery, help design new materials, and even aid in understanding complex biological processes.
Okay, I see how that could revolutionize scientific research. But let's shift gears for a moment. You also mentioned something about PaliGemma 2 being a musical maestro. How does an AI even begin to understand music?
That's a great question. Music is such a nuanced and complex form of expression, but it turns out that PaliGemma 2 has a knack for it. The researchers challenged it with a task called optical music score recognition.
So basically taking a picture of sheet music and converting it into something a computer can understand.
Exactly. And PaliGemma 2 did remarkably well. It was able to accurately translate those musical symbols into digital representations, achieving very low error rates.
So we've got AI that can read, comprehend, analyze, and now play music. Is there anything this thing can't do?
Well, there are still challenges, of course, but what's really exciting is that we're only scratching the surface of PaliGemma 2's capabilities. One area that I find particularly fascinating is long caption generation.
Captions, like describing what's happening in an image. I thought AI could already do that.
You're right, there are already AI models that can generate basic captions. But PaliGemma 2 takes it to a whole new level. It can generate long, detailed descriptions that are not only accurate, but surprisingly engaging to read.
So it's not just saying a cat sitting on a mat, it's actually painting a vivid picture with words.
Exactly. The researchers found that PaliGemma 2's captions often include rich details about objects, their spatial relationships, and even background context.
That sounds almost like creative writing. What are some potential applications for this?
The possibilities are endless. Imagine using PaliGemma 2 to generate descriptions for people with visual impairments, or to help students learn about different subjects in a more engaging way. It could even be used to create interactive museum exhibits or enhance virtual reality experiences.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This AI is starting to sound like something out of science fiction. But I have to ask, how does this all actually work? What's going on under the hood?
That's where things get a bit more technical. But don't worry, we'll keep it clear and engaging. Remember how we talked about PaliGemma 2 being a family of models, each with a different number of
Yeah,
parameters?
those parameters are like the AI's brain power, right? More
Mhm.
parameters mean more capabilities.
Exactly. And those parameters are shaped through a process called training. Imagine teaching a child to recognize different objects. You show them pictures, name the objects, and over time, they learn to identify them on their own. It's similar with AI.
So PaliGemma 2 was trained on a massive data set of images and text, and that's how it learned to understand both visual and language information.
Precisely. The researchers carefully curated this data set, ensuring it included a wide variety of images and text to cover a broad range of knowledge.
But this training process must require some serious computing power. Are we talking about those supercomputers we see in movies?
You're not wrong. PaliGemma 2 was trained on massive clusters of specialized AI chips called TPUs, or tensor processing units. These TPUs are designed to handle the immense computational demands of training such complex
So
models.
not something I could run on my laptop at home.
Not quite yet, but that's actually one of the areas the researchers are actively working on. Making PaliGemma 2 more accessible, they're experimenting with techniques like quantization, which essentially shrinks the model's size without sacrificing too much accuracy.
So someday, I might be able to experience the power of PaliGemma 2 on my phone.
That's the goal. And that brings us to one of the coolest things about PaliGemma 2. It's an open weight model.
Open weight, what does that even mean?
It means that the researchers are sharing the model's learned parameters, its brain, with the world. Anyone can download and use PaliGemma 2 for research or development.
So it's like open source software, but for AI.
Exactly. And this is a game changer for the field. It fosters collaboration, transparency, and innovation. Researchers and developers worldwide can build upon PaliGemma 2's foundation, creating new applications and pushing the boundaries of AI even further.
I can definitely see why that's so exciting. It's like democratizing access to cutting-edge AI.
Yeah.
But let's get back to those amazing capabilities. You mentioned that PaliGemma 2 excels at understanding spatial relationships. What does that mean exactly?
It means that PaliGemma 2 doesn't just see individual objects in an image. It understands how they relate to each other in space. For example, it can tell you that the cat is sitting on the mat, or that the book is to the left of the lamp.
So it's like it has a built-in sense of direction. Why is that important?
Spatial reasoning is crucial for a wide range of tasks, from navigating a room to understanding complex diagrams. It allows the AI to make inferences about the world and solve problems that require more than just recognizing individual objects.
Okay, I'm starting to get a sense of just how powerful this AI is. But you mentioned earlier that there are still challenges. What are some of the areas where PaliGemma 2 could improve?
One area where there's still room for growth is in understanding nuanced social contexts and human emotions. While PaliGemma 2 can accurately describe objects and their relationships, it might not fully grasp the emotional significance of a scene.
So it could tell us that someone is smiling in a picture, but it wouldn't necessarily understand why they're smiling.
Exactly. There's still a gap between how humans and machines perceive and interpret the world, especially when it comes to emotions and social cues.
That makes sense. So while PaliGemma 2 is a huge step forward, there's still work to be done in the quest for truly human-like AI.
Absolutely. But the progress being made is remarkable. And with open weight models like PaliGemma 2, the research community can collaborate and build upon each other's work to address these challenges.
Collaboration seems to be a key theme here.
It is. The future of AI likely lies in a world where humans and machines work together, each contributing their unique strengths.
Okay, enough for the future predictions. Let's get back to the present. We've talked about PaliGemma 2's successes in tasks like OCR, table recognition, music, and even molecule recognition. But the paper also mentioned medical applications. Now, that's something I definitely want to hear more about.
Ah, yes, the potential of AI in healthcare is truly fascinating. The researchers specifically looked at how PaliGemma 2 could be used to generate radiology reports from chest x-rays.
So instead of a radiologist spending hours analyzing images and writing reports, this AI could step in and do some of the heavy lifting.
Got it. And it actually achieved state-of-the-art results, demonstrating a high level of accuracy in identifying and describing key features in the x-rays.
Now, this has huge implications for both speed and accessibility, right?
Absolutely. It could significantly reduce the time it takes to diagnose patients, potentially leading to quicker treatment and better outcomes. And in areas with limited access to specialists, this kind of AI could be a game changer.
So are we saying goodbye to human radiologists?
Not so fast. Remember, AI is a tool, not a replacement. The researchers envision a future where AI assists radiologists, not replaces them. It can help with initial screenings, flagging potential issues, and generating preliminary reports, freeing up the radiologist to focus on more complex cases and patient interaction.
Okay, that makes more sense. AI is a collaborator, not a competitor.
Precisely. And this collaborative approach applies to many other fields as well. Think about education, design, engineering. The possibilities are endless.
Okay, I think my brain has reached its capacity for today. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive, from the technical details of PaliGemma 2 to its incredible range of applications.
It's a lot to process, I know. But remember, this is just the beginning of the journey. The future of AI is being written as we speak, and it's up to all of us to shape it responsibly.
And that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive into PaliGemma 2. We've explored some of its most impressive capabilities, but we've also acknowledged the challenges that still lie ahead.
Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll delve into some of the more technical aspects of PaliGemma 2's development and discuss the broader implications of open-weight AI models for the future of research and innovation.
You won't want to miss it. See you soon.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've spent the last 2 parts of this deep dive exploring the incredible world of PaliGemma 2, this AI that seems capable of almost anything.
It's definitely been a journey. We've talked about its ability to understand images and language, its versatility across a wide range of tasks, and its potential to revolutionize fields from scientific research to healthcare. But now I'm really curious about how it all works. In part 2, you mentioned that PaliGemma 2 was trained on a massive data set using specialized hardware. Can you break that down for me? What does that training process actually look like?
Sure, it's a fascinating process, and it's actually similar to how humans learn. Imagine you're teaching a child to recognize different animals. You show them pictures of cats, dogs, birds, and you name each animal. Over time, the child starts to learn the patterns that distinguish a cat from a dog.
So it's all about pattern recognition.
Exactly, and that's what we do with AI. We feed PaliGemma 2 massive amounts of data. Images paired with text descriptions, scientific diagrams, even sheet music. And through this process, it begins to learn the complex relationships between visual and language information.
But how does it actually learn from this data? Is there someone sitting there telling it what everything is?
That's where things get really interesting. PaliGemma 2 doesn't need someone to explicitly tell it what's in each image. It uses a technique called deep learning, which involves complex algorithms that allow it to learn these patterns on its own.
Okay, deep learning. That sounds pretty intimidating.
It might sound complex, but the basic idea is relatively straightforward. Imagine a network of interconnected nodes, kind of like a giant web. Each node represents a simple calculation, and the connections between the nodes represent the flow of information.
So it's like a massive network of mini brains, all working together.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. And during training, PaliGemma 2 is fed this data, and the connections between those nodes are constantly adjusted and refined until the network can accurately predict what's in an image based on the accompanying text or vice versa.
So it's a process of trial and error, but on a massive scale.
Exactly. And it requires an immense amount of computational power. Remember those TPUs or tensor processing units we mentioned earlier?
Those are the specialized AI chips.
Yes. They're like super-powered processors designed specifically for the kind of calculations needed. For deep learning, training PaliGemma 2 required massive clusters of these TPUs, working day and night to process all that data.
It sounds like a pretty expensive operation.
It definitely requires a significant investment, but the results speak for themselves. PaliGemma 2 has achieved breakthroughs in a wide range of tasks, demonstrating the power of deep learning.
Okay, I'm starting to get a sense of the scale and complexity of this whole operation. But you also mentioned that the researchers are working on making PaliGemma 2 more accessible. How are they doing that?
Well, one of the key approaches they're exploring is a technique called quantization. It's a way of compressing the model, making it smaller and more efficient to run without sacrificing too much accuracy.
So it's like shrinking the file size of a large video so it can stream more easily.
That's a great analogy. By using quantization, the researchers hope to make it possible to run PaliGemma 2 on everyday devices, like phones and laptops, even without specialized hardware.
That would be incredible. Imagine having access to this kind of AI power in your pocket.
It's a tantalizing prospect, and it opens up a world of possibilities. Think about personalized learning assistants that can help you understand complex concepts, accessible tools for people with visual impairments, even AI-powered medical devices that can provide diagnoses
Hmm.
in remote areas.
Okay, now you're really painting a picture of a future where AI is seamlessly integrated into our lives.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the present for a moment. One of the things that I find most fascinating about PaliGemma 2 is that it's an open weight model. Can you remind us what that means and why it's so important?
Absolutely. Open weight means that the researchers are sharing the model's learned parameters. Essentially, it's brain with the world. Anyone can download and use PaliGemma 2 for research or development.
So instead of keeping this groundbreaking technology locked away in a lab, they're making it available to everyone.
Exactly. And that's a game changer for the field of AI. It fosters collaboration, transparency, and innovation. Researchers and developers worldwide can build upon PaliGemma 2's foundation, creating new applications and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It's like open source software, but for AI. That's really exciting.
It is, and it reflects a growing trend in the AI community toward openness and collaboration. By sharing their work, the researchers behind PaliGemma 2 are helping to accelerate progress in the field and make AI more accessible to everyone.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey. From the technical marvels of PaliGemma 2's architecture and training to the broader implications of open weight models and the potential for AI to transform our lives. Any final thoughts for our listeners as we wrap up this exploration of PaliGemma 2?
I think the key takeaway is that we're living in a time of extraordinary technological advancement. AI is rapidly evolving, and models like PaliGemma 2 offer a glimpse into a future where machines can see, understand, and interact with the world in increasingly sophisticated ways.
It's both exciting and a little bit daunting. But as we've discussed throughout this deep dive, the key is to approach AI development thoughtfully and responsibly, with a focus on collaboration and ethical considerations.
Well said. The future of AI is in our hands,
Hmm.
and it's up to all of us to shape it in a way that benefits humanity.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of PaliGemma 2. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and are as excited as we are about the potential of AI to make a positive impact on the world.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions.